Hey folks, this is Ben Yessel. The main thing I wanted to mention in this video has to do with a dream I just had, but also another question maybe. Um, so I would consider this to be a nightmare, even though it wasn't. Well, I mean, I don't know. There's still things that I'm afraid of course, but in life, but it's different, I suppose, a little bit than when I was younger. Um, it depends, yeah. Yeah, this played out more like I was in a video game, I think. You'll see what I mean in here in a second. Um, so there was a game back in the late '90s, and I played it more in the early 2000s, 2000s really, and also its successors, mid 2000s and on, uh, um, to even the 2010s. But it was the Baldur's Gate series. Particularly talking about in this regard, Baldur's Gate 1, the main antagonist, and this is a spoiler here. So if you haven't played this game and you want to play this game, probably want to skip a bit. I don't know. Of these next 30 seconds, I don't know. So the spoiler alert, folks. Again. Anyway, so here we go. Here's the name. So there's a guy, the main antagonist in Baldur's Gate 1. I think it's name's Sarevok. There, I won't actually say it, but so he's a really big armored guy, and he's really scary looking, huge, 7 feet tall. Son of a ball. It's easy name. So anyway, the guy. There's a guy in my dream that was similar to that guy, in some respects, very armored and big, scary looking guy, and he was leading an army for some reason, and there's a bunch of other things that happened, of course, earlier on in the stream, and I remember a lot of that stuff too. But this last bit, it was an army. He was leading an army, and they were coming to attack the house I was in, and it was a pretty nice looking house actually. But we were all, as far as I knew, we were all just, civilians. We were all unarmed. I don't know why they're coming to attack us, but it was an army of, I don't know how many orcs and ogres and trolls and other evil knights, and yep, they were coming. And but before they came, it was the reason I knew they were coming is that they sent a note saying, and it was very dark when I was reading it, so I was kind of almost guessing what it was saying. So I had a yes or no, and it was I thought it was some kind of deal to like, hey, we'll spare your lives if you give us your house, if you leave or something. And I couldn't see what was being offered if I said yes or no. So I think I said yes, thinking we'll accept your offer to spare lives if we leave the house, and take whatever we can really quick, kind of thing. And it probably said yes was probably, hey, we'll fight you, as opposed to no, we won't fight you, but you can come take the place, or something like that. So I guess I gave the wrong response, and then this is why this is like a video game. So then right after this happened, there was a notification that came up in kind of a Elder Scrolls like little percussion thing, kind of thing, like you're leveling up, or and it said, "Oh, okay, the army's coming, and be prepared to get, they're going to be coming in like a minute or so, or a minute or two." So I'm like, oh, I gave the wrong thing, but I can magically go back in time. How far back in time do I need to go? Kind of thing. So then I went back in time, and then I woke up, of course, before I could have this second time to fix it. Anyway, I promise, I haven't been playing any video games. It's just, I think some things still stay in your subconscious, and this guy I mentioned earlier, once at this point, may have influenced the stream. I did defeat this person, you know, in Baldur's Gate. And so, I know there might have been a third or fourth option. And if this had happened in real life, I mean, but we're not talking about armored monsters. We're talking about soldiers with guns, right? Guns. So, I mean, if in real life you had more of a fantasy setting with even ranged weapons and things, crossbow, which is kind of more like a gun, but not really. No. Certainly not artillery, though. But anyway, um, but in real life, I think a lot of people would opt to take their most valuable possessions and get out of their house, and then maybe because the idea of calling 911 would be probably ridiculous if everybody was, getting affected by this. But of course, again, these ideas where fantasy combines with our real life seem so ludicrous and hard to believe. A lot of people wouldn't take it very seriously, but okay, some people like fantasy, other people don't. Some people get into it, other people don't. But everybody takes very seriously, of course, the idea of armed, whether it's police or soldiers or militarized police. This is all over YouTube. We know about this stuff. But the idea that you can have an army that will, and then, of course, they won't even send an advance note. They'll just come in unexpected and boom. Okay, you're coming with us, or you're dead, or here, hand over all your stuff, or hand over all your food, or all your weapons, or all your whatever, anything of value, and you're also coming with us to tournament camps or whatever. We're all aware of, we should all be aware of these kinds of videos on YouTube, but are definitely not about dreams or fantasy, but about something we're all a little bit worried about happening. Some of us much more than others. And so I think we can defend ourselves in that regard with whatever guns we have, and it's pretty much a suicide mission, I think, I think that's in that situation. The best, in all honesty, I don't think that'll ever happen still. But if it does happen, I do plan on escaping whatever place I'm sent to. And I hope that I don't have any, it's just a question of where do you keep your really valuable stuff? And yeah, I mean, it's a train of thought that some of us can do something about, some of us can't so much. But I mean, what would soldiers want, unless they burn your house down? What would soldiers want with some kinds of things? If it's papers and things you've written, like using composition and I don't know, that kind of stuff, I don't think they would destroy. But again, Nazi Germany, they destroyed a lot of stuff that was seen as contrary to the Führer. So I don't know what they would do, but they certainly would steal all your food, and they would take all your valuables and your car and everything that is, yeah. So, computer maybe, I don't know. So it's a worrying thought, but I don't spend very much time worrying about it, because the whole that situation where the Illuminati wants you to go to those internment camps, there's going to be a lot of things that will happen before that ever happens, that you'll know about, and you'll be, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. It wouldn't just be an immediate thing, because the reason why it wouldn't be just an immediate thing is that they would have to do that to everyone. And why would they single out you, kind of thing? Because you're more of an enemy to the government than someone else. And I've heard it said, or you have certain political leanings, or you, you're in the militia. A lot of this is kind of that really extreme far right thing, which I I lean toward a bit subconsciously, but then I think, oh, there's no way that could happen, unless certain other things would happen first. But yeah, the the armed forces, U.S. armed forces in their case, they'd be fighting, civilians. So a lot of them wouldn't do that. They'd violate orders, and then they'd be like whatever. So there'd be that whole issue. So you'd probably have a civil war in that regard of sorts, or a total breakdown in the military. I mean, people going up against their friends, people that in the neighborhood. Are you kidding? There's no way they'd enforce that order. And if they did, they couldn't live with themselves. They want to shoot themselves. That'd be a nightmare for them. But they'd have to do that to every single civilian in the United States. And so, I mean, there's only so much manpower they'd have. I mean, they go one by one. You're knocking them down doors, and before that would happen, you'd probably have a lot of martial art going on anyway. You'd probably have a breakdown. Things would be different. You'd probably already be hiding stuff. That's just my opinion. Again, it wouldn't be just an immediate thing. Anyway, getting back to the fantasy end of things here. It was a memorable dream. I was honestly a little scared, but I wasn't that scared because I could go back in time and fix it. And that's kind of the whole thing about video games, is that you have saved games and you can go back to an earlier saved game. And I remember doing this, and so that's why. Oh man. Anyway, I also remember, of course, there's something about this dream having to do with driving to different places to teach music lessons that was also a little bit interesting and weird. I think that I have some nightmares on occasion driving down very rough roads that have a lot of potholes, or that aren't they're very narrow, or they're just kind of not in good shape. Because actually, that's happened in real life. It's just but it's everything's exaggerated in your dreams a little bit. Sometimes in a dream you're not always entirely sure where you're actually going and who you're actually going to be teaching. You just I think I'm supposed to be going this direction. I think because the scenery looks vaguely like what in real life, but not really. Everything's different, so I think I'm supposed to be doing this. It's often how it is in my dreams. I think I'm supposed to be going here. Am I supposed to be going here? And then you wake up and you're just like, oh, that was interesting. So you just kind of, but the nice thing about dreams is, for the most part, nothing ever can happen to you. I mean, the worst thing that could happen to you is in real life you actually have some kind of health thing happen to you, or when you're dreaming, and you immediately wake up. I would think, if you're having some kind of pain or something that actually happens, but. The whole demonic thing is a different story entirely, and that's going to be something where, for the most part, you won't be physically in danger. It's just, well, this gets into the really kind of more subjective areas of, good and evil, that sort of thing. But I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I think I know it does, but the real question is, so much of what occurs in dreams are just like, your mind is just defibrillating from the day. And so the whole ideas of good and evil, even what you do, are a little bit different. It's just a little different. I'm not saying, I don't know, that, but that's, again, it's just an area for debate, but it's a very interesting subject for sure. Anyway, leave me thoughts and comments below. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks. Bye.